guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Maya. Today I'm finally filming my mid-year book freakout tag, which I always do around the halfway mark of the year. I've been doing this for multiple years in a row now. I'm actually filming this one a little bit later than I did the other years. Today is July 18th, so we're like 6.5 months into a year. If you don't know what a freakout tag is, basically there's different topics like best books of the year, biggest disappointments, and I'm gonna answer with the books I read so far this year. And like I usually do at the end of this video, I'm also gonna be showing you guys my Storygraph reading stats, which are always so fun to look through. Anyways, let's get started. So firstly, of course, how many books did I read this year so far? The answer to that is 24! That's 10 plus books more than I did last year. I'm pretty sure last year I read 13-ish books around this time. That's good, that's good. But to be fair, I am filming this a little later than I did the other times. So if we're looking exactly how much I read in the first half, then that would be like 22, 23, but still like 10 more than I did last year. I might even be able to reach 50 books by the end of this year, which I haven't done it in a little while. And I'm not even trying to read a lot or to reach a goal. So, and on top of the 24 books that I read so far, I'm also currently reading 2 books. So I'll tell you guys about those 2 later. Okay, so let's start with the first tag, which is best books I read so far this year. Okay, so the first book, I think this is probably the best book I read so far in 2025. That is Enchanted. I rated this 4.85 stars, I think, or 4.8, I forgot. I really love this, and this was a 4.8 or 4.85, and I said this is the best one. Guys, I haven't had a single full 5-star read this year yet. I mean, I really like this, but it's not a full 5-star, if you know what I mean. Maybe I'll have some 5-star reads in the next half of 2024. I talked about this in a few videos recently. Basically, these 2 teens, before they go to prom, they spend it with their friends at Disneyland, like walking around in their prom dresses, having fun, and they get transported back to Aurora's fairy tale. And this is really fun to read about how they live in this fairy tale. They're trying to like figure out how to get out of it, and also not to mess up the main storyline, to keep the story going on track. It felt so peaceful and fun and wholesome. I think it's a perfect summer book. It was kind of like low stakes vibes. Like obviously there is stakes, but they're just like having so much fun and like hanging out together, doing these little fun things that it kind of made the reader relax more rather than be like, oh, how are they gonna figure this out? I'd give this probably like a 11 plus age rating. Another really great read I had was A French Girl in New York. This was like a 4.5 stars. It was really fun reading about this girl. She basically gets discovered for her singing talent, and she moves from France to USA, New York City, and starts working under this record company. And also there's a guy who's helping her write her music, and she's also exploring the city, trying to find her biological father, and also what happened to her family because she's an orphan. This is just a really, really fun time, and it was so easy to binge. It was hard to put down. I just wanted to keep reading the next chapter. Same thing with this. This is one of the best reads I had this year so far, and also one of the fastest. I read this in like 2 or 3 days because it was just so easy to binge. Both of these were pretty bingeable. And the third one I'm gonna mention is Heart of a Raven Prince. I read this in my Reading Only Kindle Unlimited Books video. This one is either also a 4.5 stars. It's a fantasy retelling of Cinderella. Also pretty bingeable, fun. There are lots of funny moments, and I just really liked the story, like the way it was written, the plot. It was just very, very entertaining. There was rarely a moment in this book when I felt bored, and I was pretty much always interested in what was going on. I probably would have given this higher if there weren't some steamy parts I had to skip. I think for the most part, it was mostly fade to black, but still, there was some stuff that I needed to skip. Next is best sequel. I actually haven't read that many sequels so far, but I did read a few, but I didn't rate them the highest either. So the one that I think is the best from them all, it's Earth's End. But even this, it didn't reach a 4-star. It was a 3.9 star, or maybe a 3.8 star. It's the continuation of the Air Awakens series. This is the 3rd book, and I thought it was better than the 2nd book, the previous one, for sure, because I wasn't as bored in here as I was in the 2nd book, and the events that happened were kind of interesting, but at the same time it felt kind of short, and like there could have been more to this book. Nonetheless, I will be continuing the series because I do have the fourth book. The ending of the third book made me interested enough to buy the fourth one, and I am looking forward to reading this. Wait, I just remembered another book, another sequel that I read. I rated it around the same as I rated Earth's End, like around a 3.89, and that is The Hawthorne Legacy. I think this is the best book in the Inherited Game series. I don't know, maybe this is a 4-star. Yeah, I feel like maybe I liked this more than Earth's End. So yeah, this is probably the best sequel that I read this year so far. With this series, I feel like some of the mysteries are a bit obvious, but from the 3 main books in the series, I did like the story, settings, and scenes the most in here. Like, I really liked when they were at the ski lodge. So yeah, now for my biggest disappointment. I definitely know what I want to say for this. That would be Woody in Pink. I bought this at Barnes & Noble, and before that, I've seen it online on Goodreads before, and it was like, ooh, this sounds interesting. Then I saw Barnes & Noble and decided to get it. The cover looks so pretty, and the premise of this sounded really fun. This is a Regency romance, but it definitely did not reach my expectations. This was like borderline okay. I know that sounds a little harsh, but the events in here were interesting enough to make me not DNF this, but at the same time, the enjoyment throughout reading this wasn't that high. There's some emotional parts in this that felt kind of forced. I didn't really feel the emotionalness of them. It just felt like they were there because it was time for them to be there. Most books have at least some emotional parts, and the author's like, okay, time to add the emotional bits in this, but I didn't actually feel the emotional ability. This was actually one of the first books that I read this year, and I wrote about it in my reading journal, so this is gonna help me like refresh my mind on what I thought of this. I wrote past 60 pages. What is this cringeness? Feels unneeded, forced, and trying to make us feel something already. This was referring to some kind of like romance that happened between them, like just like a moment, which was just like kind of cringe and felt forced. I didn't feel anything from that besides cringeness. But some more things that I said was it felt like it was plotted in a day. Like the plot was just mega basic. All of these scenes,
everything's just pretty surface level. Characters are not very well developed. It lacks depth in meaning, emotion, and intent.
Also feels like it was written for the sake of being written. When I first finished this, I gave it like a 3.5 stars, but then a bit after that, I changed my rating to like a 2.5 or a 2.75. I do remember that I rolled my eyes a lot when I was reading this. I guess it just didn't click with me. And now for my biggest surprise. I don't know if anything was a really, really big surprise, but I think my answer to this question will be Toe to Toe. It's a ballerina romance, and I just found this spontaneously. I searched up for free books on Kindle. I don't know if it's still free, so like don't hold me up on that. When I found it, it was free, and I wanted to read something about ballerinas, so I decided to read this. It was a lot better than I was expecting it to be. Since it was free and it also didn't have that many reviews, I thought maybe it's just gonna be something kind of like cringy, immature, but it was actually like a pretty solid young adult book. This could definitely be more popular than it is currently. I mean, it's nothing mind-blowing. I wouldn't like say that it's worthy of being a book talk book, even though there's so many book talk books that are not worthy of being book talk books, or just like not worthy of all that hype in my opinion. I don't think that this is special enough to be up there, but it's a pretty solid good read, and I did enjoy this, and I am interested in continuing this series. Oh, I know. Actually, I know what the biggest surprise was. It's just a book that I already talked about. That's A French Girl in New York. I was actually really surprised by this because I heard that it was originally a Wattpad book. Over here it says Wattpad books. And so my expectations weren't super duper high for this because I thought maybe it's going to be a little bit amateur, cringy. And I also never heard anything about it before I saw it at Barnes & Noble and got curious and got it. And I was really, really pleasantly surprised. Sure, there were like maybe a couple of moments where it was kind of a tiny bit Wattpad-y, but this isn't the original book that she wrote on Wattpad. She like rewrote it, I'm pretty sure. It's a really good young adult book, really good plot and like strong story, strong plot and characters, and it's really enjoyable. So yeah, I was really surprised by this. I'm also so excited for the other books in the series to come out. They're already out, but they have old covers that look like this, and recently I think she got republished or something, and I'm pretty sure she's gonna do the other books in new covers too, which I'm so excited about. I'm wondering what the second book cover will look like because I think this is so adorable. And the second OG book cover is purple, I'm pretty sure, so maybe she's gonna keep to the color schemes in the new covers too. The second book might be purple also. I don't know, but I'm just really excited to see it. And when the second book is announced and available for pre-order, Anna Adams, you can be sure that I will be coming for it. Fun fact, actually when I finished reading this, I liked it so much and I immediately wanted to read the second book that I actually DM'd her on Instagram and asked when the second book is coming out or if she has plans for republishing with new covers. She said yes, definitely the second book is coming and that she's going to be keeping everyone updated. I just went on her Instagram and turns out actually she already did reveal the second book cover. I was wrong, it's not purple. Here it is, A French Star in New York. Oh my gosh, we just discovered this together, guys. It's really giving American with like the blue, the red, and the white. Wait, actually, that could also be French, bro. Next is new releases you're excited to read. Not anticipated releases, because then obviously I would say A French Star in New York, but ones that already came out recently and I still haven't read them. Are Something Perfect for This actually came out 3 days ago. That is The Enchanted Greenhouse. That's book 2 of The Spell Shop, and I loved The Spell Shop. This was one of the best books of 2024 that I read. This was 100% of 5 stars. I just love this. My sister read this and she agrees with me wholeheartedly. It's a 5 stars. Anyway, so we're both super duper excited to read the second book. It already came out a few days ago, so maybe I should get it soon. The Floating World by Axio recently came out and it sounds so interesting. It came out at the end of April and I'm really curious about this one. Also, A Forgery of Fate by Elizabeth Lim sounds super fun. I'm pretty sure she's the one who wrote Six Crimson Crames series and Spin the Dawn. I have read neither of those series and I heard that her fantasy books are kind of interconnected, but you can read them separately. I think from all of her fantasy books, this one sounds the most intriguing to me and it came out last month. The Notorious Virtues by Alan Hamilton. This came out at the beginning of April. She's the author who wrote Rebel of the Sands trilogy, which I enjoyed. Recently on vacation, I was at a bookstore and I was considering getting this. I ended up not getting it, but maybe I will soon. The Rose Bargain. I've heard so many good things about this. It sounds really good. Some of my friends on Goodreads really liked this. It sounds like an addictive fantasy, which I might get when I'm in the mood for that and when I run out of the fantasy books that are on my physical TBR right now. Wish Upon a K-Star. This came out at the end of April and I actually haven't really looked into this one that much. I mean, I read the description and I liked the sound of it and that's why I added it to my want to read. And it's also about K-pop, and as you know, I've read a few K-pop books in the past and I really liked them. So maybe I'll try this one and maybe I'll like it too. Of course, Never Thought I'd End Up Here by Anne Liang. This came out in June last month. This one isn't as recent of a release. It was in January of this year. Royal Airs Academy, and it sounds pretty fun. It's giving like selection vibes. That's it for new releases. Now let's move on to anticipated releases I'm excited to read. Books that are coming out soon. Already gushed about. A French Star in New York. Really curious how this story will continue. One that I recently found out about that sounds really good is Girl Goddess Queen. This is a Paris phone retelling. Is that how I pronounce her name? Like the wife of Hades, the flower goddess.
Persephone.
What did I say? Persephone? Persephone. The description of it definitely interested me and therefore I'm excited to read this. It's coming out in September. Next is Falling Like Leaves. This is coming out also in September, actually on the same day as the other book, September 2nd. This just seems like a really cozy, young adult, autumn book. The guy is also a barista, which sounds really fun. I haven't heard much about this. I'm not sure how I found out about this, honestly, maybe through Instagram. Next is K-Jane. It's coming out in October. It's about this Korean girl who tries to become more Korean. You might be like, what? She's already Korean. Because like lots of Korean things are getting more trendy, like listening to K-pop, Korean foods, Korean skincare and beauty products. Basically everyone in her school, even non-Korean classmates, are really interested in that stuff. And she feels like everyone knows more about Korean culture than she does. So she feels like she's like missing out on something. And so she tries to kind of reconnect, not just with the popular things, but with like the culture and heritage. That sounded really fun. I saw this on NetGalley. That's how I found out about it. I was considering requesting an ARC of this, but then I decided I'd actually rather wait and just buy the physical copy because I want to hold the cover in my hands. It's so pretty. Next is The Coffin Game. This I actually also found out through NetGalley and I requested it and I was declined. I need to raise up my ratio, the feedback ratio. I probably ruined it a while ago when I was requesting books I was not interested in. Anyways, this is described as a deliciously fun young adult K-drama remix of Pride and Prejudice. If Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth Bennet were a college-run reality TV dating show. So this is basically about a reality show that they're on, and I'm pretty sure she's the director of it because on the cover she's holding a camera, and I'm pretty sure that's what it said in the description also. Yeah, it's her dream to get into film school and she's making her own dating show starring other people and those people's crushes. And then she has to get the help of this boy who she has a crush on. It's a little bit enemies to lovers. Like she doesn't like him, but at the same time she has a crush on him. Her brain doesn't like him, but her heart likes him. And I think that just sounds really fun reading about the behind the scenes of a dating show, of a reality show in general. Next is new favorite author. I don't know if I have a new favorite one. Maybe Anna Adams, but I only read one of her books so far, so I don't know if I can really say that she's a new favorite author. Maybe Morgan Matson, the author of Enchanted, but at the same time I did read some other Morgan Matson books, but that I didn't rate as high as this one, so I think it depends on her work. So I think I don't have a new favorite author yet. Next, favorite fictional book couples. Definitely Wings of Starlight, Clarion and Mallory. I did film a reading vlog on this book. I'll put the thingy up there somewhere. They're just so awesome. And we need a movie about them, and we need more books about Disney fairies. This isn't a new favorite couple, but reading Earth's End did reestablish my love for these two, Vala and Aldrich. I really like them together, and on their own, individually, I really like their characters. Now the most beautiful books that I got this year. This could either be books that I received or bought myself. Basically, I acquired them this year, and these covers are the prettiest, in my opinion, from every other cover that I got this year. Firstly, Emma by Jane Austen. Look at this beautiful Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. I just love this soft pinkish purplish color and these gold lettering, and I'm collecting the Jane Austen novels in Barnes & Noble exclusive edition because they're just so beautiful. I have two others, Pride and Prejudice and Sensitive Sensibility. This is the third one, and also they're very well made. The cover feels soft. Next is Welcome to the Hunam Dong Bookshop. Wait, no, this was last year. I got this for Christmas last year. But guys, I'm breaking the rules here and I'm going to show it anyway because I haven't had a chance to talk about this yet, and I feel like I haven't talked about this much on my channel recently, even though I did like this. And I did read this in the first half of 2025. I feel like this is the only chance I'm going to get to talk about it because it didn't really match any of the other topics where I showed books. This succeeded my expectations. I was expecting something restful, peaceful slice of life, and this did deliver on that. It also had some meaningful messages and really good characters who have nice stories, and they're going through stuff and they're also supporting each other, and just the ambience of the bookshop and the coffee shop are so nice, and meeting all these characters, their stories, and the tiny little romance is so like genuine. It was a 4.25, I don't know, something like that. I just, for some reason for this book, I can't really give it a solid rating. At first I thought maybe it was like a 4.5, then I thought maybe it was a 4, and then I thought it was a 4.25, and I don't know. Of course, Wings of Starlight. Like, are you kidding me? Because there's not just this beauty, there's also this beauty. What am I reading? Oh. Yeah, are you seeing this? Behind the dust jacket there is nothing, but that's okay, I guess, when we have this gorgeousness. Also betting on you. Yes, I recently got a physical copy of this. I know I talked about it in my summer TBR video that I really want to read it, and I finally got it, and I'm so excited to read it. And the cover. That's why I'm mentioning this, because I think that the cover is so pretty. Like, yes, it is simpler than the other ones I showed, but I absolutely love the colors in this. It looks different on camera than it does in real life. I'm not sure how it's going to turn out when I edit it, but it's kind of like a teal color. There's also a Barnes & Noble exclusive edition of this, and it has like sprayed edges, but I didn't like it as much as I like the original because I just really like the teal, all this teal on the original cover, rather than the flipped version where it's pink and then teal letters. Next are some Russian books. We have this series, which I recently talked about in my summer TBR video that I want to read. I actually already started reading. This I finished really recently, and I'm currently reading this one. This is a Russian and Korean book. And not to mention the beautiful art inside of them. Like, look at this! Oh my god. This definitely adds a series points for the beautiful book tag. Also this one, I have not mentioned this anywhere yet. I was like saving most of the books that I got. I keep on saying I'm gonna film that Russian book haul and I still haven't, and I really need to do it soon. It's a Slavic retelling. Look at this. It's so beautiful, and this is not even dust jacket or anything. This is just the hardcover itself. This is a Slavic folklore retelling of Baba Yaga, A Moment of Admiration. Books that I DNF'd or paused. There's one. There were a few more, but then I unpaused them and finished them. But the one that is still, I did not come back to it yet, and I don't know if I will, is The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. I think I read like 40% of this book. It's like alright, but I don't know, it's just really easy to put it down, and I feel absolutely no urge to pick it back up. Like, I just don't care. If I don't have the urge, then I just don't really think it's worth reading, you know? There's other books that I have an urge to read. I don't have an urge for this one, so bye! Now for books that I want to get into the second half of the year, I'm not going to repeat the ones that I mentioned as new releases and anticipated releases that I want to read. Maybe I'm going to stick to the ones I have on my TBR that I want to get to, on my physical TBR. Obviously the Natural series, I mentioned this in my summer TBR video, which if you haven't watched, go watch, because I talked about a lot of summer books that I really want to read. So I'm actually counting all of those in mind too, and I'm not going to re-mention them in here. And I also gave you guys some summer book recommendations in the video, so if you are looking for some fun summer books to read this summer, I got you. So yeah, this. Betting on you. I did mention this in my summer TBR video, but I mentioned it again because I actually got the physical copy of it recently. So this is now on my physical TBR. Definitely want to continue the Carvel series with Legendary. And I also kind of want to start the Mortal Instruments series. There's just so many books in the Shadowhunters world, and I kind of really want to get into them. I know big book series scare a lot of people, but to me, they kind of excite me. And all of the covers are so pretty in my opinion. Oh, they're slipping out. I know, I'll read you soon. And maybe I will start the Heroes of Olympus series. I don't know, because this is like a lot. Obviously I won't be able to do all of these. This one I feel like is maybe lower priority than the Naturals set and the City of Bones set. At the beginning of this year, I got the Prison Healer, and I would like to start reading the series later this year because I've heard so many good things about it, and I'm really excited too. Also, the cover is so pretty. It reminds me of Rapunzel, like the flower. Also, maybe I'll finish the Rise of School for Good and Evil duology, which is a spin-off of the School for Good and Evil series. Kind of like a prequel, but I recommend you actually read it after School for Good and Evil. This is the second book of that duology. When I read the Rise of School for Good and Evil, I was kind of like reminded why I love School for Good and Evil so much. It definitely did reignite, even though not that it needed reigniting because I love the School for Good and Evil series. It did remind me why I love it, and maybe it's been a while since I read that one. If I can start reading the second one, it'll remind me again why I love the series so much. And then it really just depends on what I'm in the mood for. Like, I do have lots of options on my physical TBR. I am making progress on my physical TBR. Like, I've definitely been making a dent in it lately, and there's a lot less in it now than there was before, I think. Like, yeah, it really just depends on what I'm in the mood for. Like, I could start Ember in the Ashes series, which I'm excited to, but I don't know if I will, and there's just like lots of things I can say. Okay, now it's time for my story graph reading stats. Let me pull this up. Firstly, let's look at the moods. A whole quarter is dominated by light-hearted books. I feel like that is kind of accurate. Then another quarter is dominated by adventurous books. Almost another quarter is emotional. And then we have some other random ones like mysterious, hopeful, funny, then some others. The reading pace, the bigger ones are fast and medium, and then the smaller percentage is slow paced. I feel like that's accurate since I did read 24 books, which is a lot more than I read last year around this time of the year. Now for page number. Most books that I read were around 300 to 499 pages, so I didn't read anything over 500 pages this year yet. And the small percentage is 300 or less pages. 100% fiction, but this actually isn't true because there are a couple of non-fiction books that I'm reading, but I just like don't read a whole non-fiction book in one go. I should just read a few chapters, then a few weeks pass, I read some more kind of like in between fiction books, and when I feel like reading something educational like that, what genres am I reading? Biggest percentage is young adult, but like most of the books that I read are young adults, so let's ignore that. Romance. Really? Then contemporary, then fantasy. That's pretty much what I expected. My most read authors, there's 3 which I read multiple books of this year, and from each of them I read 2 books each. That's Tessandra Odette, who wrote Heart of the Raven Prince and also Curse of the Wolf King. Then Jennifer Lynn Barnes, because I read The Hawthorne Legacy and The Final Gambit. Then Elise Kova, because I read Earth's End and a small novella called Tales from the Front. We have a new stats this time, one that was never before in my videos, and that is languages, because now English is not the only type of books that I read. 95.8% English, 4.2% Russian. Wow. That is interesting. I never even knew they had a language thing on here, but now I know. Numbers of books and pages. We have this little graph thing going. Seems like there was a big dip near March, but overall it's going pretty well in the high thing. Star ratings. The average rating for me for the books I've read so far is 3.8 stars. Not bad, but if you look down there at all of the star ratings, there's not a single 5-star like I already said. And most of the books that I read were 4 stars. There are 7 books that are 4 stars. Okay, those are the stats. And that's the mid-year book freakout tag. We did it again, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Now I kind of caught you guys up on what I've been reading this first half of the year. If you want to answer any of these topics that we talked about, feel free to comment down below. I'll actually enjoy reading your comments, like what your best books of the year were so far, biggest surprise, disappointments, new favorite author, anything. If you made it this far, comment the cute cow face emoji. Random, I know, but it's just so cute. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video if you liked it. My social medias and my grades will be down below. Bye bye!